Well, it's not every election that we have a brand new party, but we do have a new political entity for this Manitoba election. The Keystone Party of Manitoba was formed in the wake of the pandemic. Leader Kevin Friesen is a grain farmer in Manitou. He is running in the riding of Turtle Mountain, and let's welcome Kevin Friesen, leader of the Keystone Party of Manitoba. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for making time for CBC and the conversation.
Yes, no problem.
So for people who aren't familiar with your party, how would you describe what you're about?
So in 2 words we can explain it. We are a grassroots party, and so when we formed it, starting in 2019 was when the idea came. Basically, we thought we needed Manitobans that wanted to have a voice in the legislature and didn't seem to have that. Grassroots movement was needed, and so that's why we did what we did.
I know that your website, when it describes the party, says, quote, "It's dedicated to assisting you in upholding the rights and freedoms of all Manitobans," end quote. What specifically do you mean by that?
As far as rights and freedoms, like I said, when we formed the party, so many people were telling us that my MLA will talk to me 1 month before the election. At this time of the year, they want to, of the election cycle, they want to talk to their constituents, but they just found it was really hard to get a voice in what was talking. So a freedom of talking to your politicians, of having a more open conversation with them, but also a freedom of perhaps the tentacles of the government being into every single portion of our lives. And that's a huge part about us. One of our principles is becoming a smaller, less intrusive government. And so that's the freedoms we're talking about.
I know that you have said before you don't want to necessarily be seen as a party that was formed because of choices during the pandemic. But you do have positions on mandates and freedoms to that end. So you're against mandates.
I would say, well, I'm actually for the mandates of an MLA talking to their constituent, but I'm against the mandate of not allowing people to use their God-given rights and the God-given brains that they've been given. And so not all the mandates were necessary, we didn't think, but once again, as you said, not a reason that we started the party. It just kind of happened as we were getting the idea going.
So if the world were facing another pandemic and vaccines and lockdowns were mandated, what would you do if you were in office?
Well, I mean, our principles stated very clearly, and so we are a principle-based party, and so rights and freedoms are something that were written into our Constitution a long time ago, and so we would probably not pull the Emergency Act out for such a long time. And we know that there are emergency situations where we would need to do things, but we feel and we hope that when we gave the grassroots a chance to speak, that they would have probably been willing to step out of an emergency situation, triggering those mandates a lot earlier than what we saw. And it's always easy to look hindsight is 2020, but that's what I think would have happened if we were in office. Yeah.
Now, I will move from this topic of conversation to some of the other platform, but I do want to get, I really kind of want to get your point of view on this. Would you wear a mask if it protected someone else? Would you get a vaccine to protect someone else, or
so I'm a science-based person. Went to university, took agriculture science, and so personally, I have a hard time believing that every person should wear a mask, and I think that there were some people that actually had real mental problems because of wearing it. If I knew that it would protect someone else, I would probably do that. I'm just really struggling myself, and it's not a party position, but I really struggle with my own science-based thoughts on how you would stop some of those things we were trying to stop with a mask. So. Willing to do it, but I don't know if it would have helped in a lot of the situations. Yeah.
No, I understand that's your position, and you said personally, but the vast majority of scientific opinion doesn't support what you're saying. But your position's your position, and we do want to move to some other things here. So let's talk about agriculture, which is, of course, your life. It's important to Manitoba's economy, of course. It's critical. As a producer yourself, how valued do you think that farming is by politicians and governments here? I mean, even past and present.
Yeah, so we look at the numbers. So 8% of our GDP is agriculture in Manitoba, and I find it really interesting that you're looking at a lot of the party's platforms on agriculture, and they're not exactly talking about protecting the agriculture producer. That being said, a lot of agriculture producers in the last 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 years have been done very well. They are a huge tax base for the province of Manitoba, but that needs to be protected. And obviously, as a farmer myself, I see the ways that we can protect that. And that's probably not able to be explained in 10 minutes, but there's a lot.
Give us one.
So I think the best way we can is, I think the family cow-calf operation, I think, would be the one that I think needs protecting right now, and it's in dire straits. I see in our area so many cow-calf family farms that are maybe not getting passed to the next generation. There just doesn't seem to be the economic benefit that there was before.
How do you protect it?
I don't like subsidies, I'll be honest with you. I don't think subsidies are a great way. One of my favorite sayings is, the government can't give you anything that they haven't taken from you first, and so I find subsidies fall in that department. But I think, first of all, property rights would be a great way of protecting a lot of these family farms. Incentives for them producing feeders to the next part of the family chain, and I don't find that some of the federal programs like Agri-Stability and Agri-Invest necessarily do support the strictly cow-calf operations. So,
when your party launched in July of, you were hoping last year, when you officially launched, you were hoping to field candidates in all 57 constituencies. Yeah. How disappointing is it that you only managed to get a handful?
Yeah, so I mean, there was a few of us on the board at the time, I think, that had this pie in the sky goal. However, when you're running a grassroots party and you're trying to get the grassroots of Manitoba involved, it's more up to them than up to us whether we push for candidates. So I'm really proud that we're running 5 candidates. All 5 of those candidates are people who understand their communities very well. A farmer in a farming community, a 30-year police officer in an area where the crime is probably one of the worst in Manitoba, a framer who understands a lot of the area south of Steinbach, which is booming in building houses and a lot of other businesses. And so those are the kind of examples. And I think to actually grow a grassroots party, we have to lead by example. So we hope that we win a few seats and we can show Manitoba. I mean, we can tell them we're more transparent. We can tell them that we're going to bring honesty back to the House, but we need to do that by example.
Your party pledges to stop funding school boards and says that parents should have approval in the creation and adoption of school curricula. Mm-hmm. How do you see that working?
So the education department, we just find that there's a lot of distractions, I think, that are hindering our kids from learning what they need to learn. And so we don't think it's a money problem. Perhaps there is enough money for the system. I talk personally to teachers a lot. I have teachers in my own family, and what they really want to do is get back to educating kids. And so I'm not sure that heavily funding the school board part, I mean, we don't want to get back to Bill C-64 and how nobody in Manitoba or very few liked the idea, but it's a good example of how a grassroots movement like we have would have never put forward an idea like Bill C-64, which was a very heavy, or bringing more funding to the...
How would you see consensus, though, when you think every Manitoba family is so unique?
Yeah, they're very unique, and that's why we need to get them engaged in what we're doing. And so the way the Keystone Party model works is, if you look at how the Constitution was written, your idea gets brought to a constituency association, that idea gets brought to the next level, which is our 13 area boards, eventually getting to the politicians who basically need to speak for their constituents, and that's how the model works. And I think that's how we get the diverse amount of people that will speak for their area, speak for themselves. Yeah.
I've seen you comment on this before. You really, you almost have a physical reaction when you're compared to any extremist group on the right. You really don't want to be seen as extreme. Can you tell me a bit about that?
I mean, it's not that I'm embarrassed about anything we believe in. It's that I really don't think we are extreme right. I think a lot of our province has moved very left, and I like to, and the reason I know that is there's people from leftist parties like the NDP and the Liberals that are actually coming our way, because it's a longing to have a voice. And so we need a diverse group of people, not just the people from the right, not just the people from the left, but people that believe in the principles that we have built. Those aren't changeable. Those principles are pretty much set in stone and very hard to change. And so we need people from all sides to be a part of us.
And just last, having said that, how much are you counting on people who are unhappy with pandemic policies to vote for your party?
it's not something we're focusing on. We're hoping we can move on and we can build this party because of the principles we're standing on, not because of something that happened. The timing issue of when we actually launched the party is unfortunate, that it makes us look a party that was started in the wake. But yeah, join us because you believe in the principles. Join us because you believe in speaking your genius inside of you to politics, not for the reason of a pandemic reason or an extreme right or left reason.
Kevin Friesen, good luck on October 3rd. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.